Investigators have learned the name of a woman who was burned alive and beyond recognition aboard a Brooklyn train last week. The police identified the woman as Debrina Kawam of Toms River, NJ. She was the victim of an apparently random attack captured in videos that showed her bracing herself against the doorway of a NEF train in Coney Island, her body engulfed by flames. Sebastian Zapeta-Calil, 33, has been accused of setting fire to Ms. Kawam with a lighter and was charged with first-degree murder and arson. Ms. Kawam's identity was confirmed on Monday through fingerprint analysis, said Julie Bolcer, a spokeswoman for the city medical examiner's office. Ms. Kawam was 57, though police officials initially had said she was 61. Mayor Eric Adams said at a news conference at City Hall on Tuesday that she briefly stayed in the city's homeless shelter system. No matter where she lived, that should not have happened, Mr. Adams said. Just watching that tape, I couldn't even watch it all the way through, he added. Investigators had used every means possible to identify the woman, the Brooklyn District Attorney, Eric Gonzalez, said at a news conference last week. They took her fingerprints and collected DNA evidence. They gathered surveillance footage from the subways, hoping to find a clear image of the woman's face before the fire. The fragmentary traces Ms. Kawam left behind in yearbooks and public records sketch a troubled life. She appeared to have graduated from Passaic Valley Regional High School in Little Falls, NJ, 4 decades ago. Her yearbook entry from 1985 illustrated with a photo of her with long, feathered hair mentioned memories of freshman and sophomore cheerleading and trips to the shore. It listed her ambition as airline stewardess and said that her secret ambition was to party forever. In a senior poll, she was one of 3 girls voted most punk and one of 3 girls voted $1 million smile. Municipal court records going back 20 years include dozens of minor cases against Debrina Kawam in cities and towns along the Jersey Shore, in Jersey City and in the suburbs of New York. Most were citations for public drinking, trespassing or disorderly conduct, including the most recent, in July, for public drinking in Atlantic City. In a 2008 bankruptcy filing, she wrote that she had not been working due to illness. After her father, William Kawam, died in 2009, she posted on a tribute page that he was the best father a daughter could have had, and that I will always regret that it took me later in life to figure that out. Roxanne Cromer, a Toms River resident, said that her late husband, George Kramer, had been Ms. Kawam's romantic partner from about 2011 to 2014 and that they had lived together. The relationship, her husband had told her, had been chaotic. The police gave an address for Ms. Kawam in Toms River, a small, gray one-story home that had been owned by the victim's mother in a sprawling retirement community. A neighbor said that until the house was sold in 2024, she would see an older woman and someone Ms. Kawam's age coming and going. The older woman seemed to be taking care of the younger woman, who appeared disabled, and would lead her by the hand, said the neighbor, Valerie Voskovich. I had the impression that the older woman had her hands full taking care of the younger woman, she said. The current owner of the home, Olga Korpian, said she had never met Ms. Kawam or her mother, but that in May, shortly after she moved in, a stranger came to her door. She said, I'm Debrina, I want to see my mother, Ms. Korpian recalled. Ms. Korpian said it seemed odd that someone would not know that her mother had moved, and Ms. Korpian said that Ms. Kawam seemed troubled. She said she offered to call Ms. Kawam with information about her mother, but Ms. Kawam told her she had no phone and quickly left. Ms. Kawam was in New York City as early as April 28, when the police issued her a summons in Midtown Manhattan for drinking on a public sidewalk, according to city records. She was scheduled to appear in June, but did not show up. Her social service records show that she stayed at a women's shelter in the Bronx from November 30 to December 2. On December 22, around 7:30 a.m., Ms. Kawam was sitting motionless on a subway train, apparently asleep, when Mr. Zapeta-Calil walked up, took out a lighter and set her on fire, according to prosecutors and the police. He then stepped out of the train and sat on a bench on the subway platform, staring as the smoke and flames overwhelmed Ms. Kawam, the police said. Then, video of the incident shows a man who appears to be Mr. Zapeta-Calil rising and approaching Ms. Kawam. Instead of trying to douse the blaze, he waves a shirt at her, appearing to fan the flames. At least one police officer can be seen walking by her as people on the platform scream. Officers who came to the scene did not appear to focus on Mr. Zapeta-Calil sitting on the bench as they tended to miss Kawam, but their body cameras had captured him in the clothes he wore: a gray, hooded sweatshirt, a wool hat, tan boots and paint-splattered pants. The police department released the photos publicly, and soon after, 3 teenagers called 911. They said they had recognized Mr. Zapeta-Calil from the photos and that he was aboard another train in Brooklyn. The police ordered the train stopped and arrested him. The authorities do not believe Miss Kawam and Mr. Zapeta-Calil knew each other. She was already on the train when he boarded it in Queens, and they both rode to the end of the line in Coney Island, the official added. According to a law enforcement official who spoke on condition of anonymity, people often sleep on subway trains in cold weather. The outside temperature on the morning Miss Kawam was killed was 16 degrees. Mr. Zapeta-Calil is an undocumented immigrant from Guatemala who was deported in 2018 only to illegally return to the United States, according to federal immigration officials. The suspect had been living for the past couple of months at a shelter in Brooklyn for men with drug and alcohol problems, according to the police and residents of the shelter. A grand jury indicted him last week on first-degree murder, second-degree murder and arson charges. After Mr. Zapeta-Calil's arrest, federal officials issued 2 immigration detainers, according to Jeffrey Carter, a spokesman for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Detainers are requests to the police and the City Department of Correction that they notify the federal agency before Mr. Zapeta-Calil's court case is done and is released from jail. City sanctuary laws prevent city agencies from sharing immigration information about defendants with federal officials, including when they will be released from police custody or from jail. However, the laws let the agencies tell ICE about non-citizens who have been convicted of any of 177 serious offenses, including rape and felony assault.